Okay, hello everyone, I'm Mika the Shadowbeast, and welcome back to the Groom of Gallagher Mansion. We are continuing right where we left off. We have just exited the bedroom, and we're going to finish off what was left of what was in the demo, and then we're going to see some new content. I am super excited. So let's get to it. The door opens to a house alive. The chill is gone, and the dim light from the windows flows through the holes like a river undammed. I think this is the same house after all. The walls are all chipped, and the floorboards creak, and 100 ornate doors beckon to be opened. A mystery behind each and every one. I'm just as lost now as I was before I fell asleep. I'm out of the bedroom, no signs of Elias or any other ghosts for that matter. I think I'm still in the mansion.
Ugh. Okay then, I'll stay put for now. But if we're gonna do this, then you need to give me a status report.
Okay, so you know how cold I was when I first entered? That's not a problem anymore. The whole manor is what's one step down from cozy. No response except what might be Taylor biting his lip. As he contemplates the situation, I hear another voice. It sounds happy? It's humming a melody unfamiliar to me, all at once wistful and joyous and despondent. A harmony of dissonance fills the house, even though they barely outdo a whisper. And despite the echoes crawling like slugs along the walls, I know exactly where the sound originates. I think I know where Elias is. I'm going to try and find my way back to him.
If the house really has returned to its full glory, is it because of Elias? If it's not freezing in there anymore, that has to mean something. I think you've really awakened him.
KO to elaborate?
Your presence has given him something he hasn't had in forever. I think this house conforms to his spectral energy. You've made him happy.
Aww.
You've satisfied part of his wish for romance, but I want you to be very careful about how that wish gets entirely fulfilled, okay?
I'm down to fuck a ghost. Are you, Taylor? I haven't been paying much attention to where I'm going, but my feet have walked on without a second thought, through the twisting halls to another dimly lit room, and to Elias Gallagher. I peek into the study as quietly as I can, sans the creaky door hinges as to not disturb Elias. I spy him holding a few volumes of some old book collection in his arms as he peruses a crowded shelf. I can't help but notice the content smile resting on his lips. Once satisfied with his haul, Elias floats over to an armchair and sets the books on a nearby accent table, making sure they're in his preferred order. A pot of tea and some snacks wait for him to sit down. Wait, can a ghost even eat or drink? Contemplating the question, I lean forward to get a better look, the door creaking as it's unintentionally pushed farther open. Aww, his face. Oops, I've ruined his reading time. He spotted me.
Oh, my dearest. Wait there.
He hurries over, ghostly tail slicing through the carpet. In a quiet instant, Elias floats before me, chest puffed out dramatically.
Please, my dear. You mustn't wander around. Things remain out of sorts.
Ugh.
Shut up, Taylor! I do my best to ignore Taylor's annoyed groan. But when I heard you humming, my feet began to move on their own accord. Why, you must have summoned me here to grant you company. Sure, the line was cheesy but wasn't wholly inaccurate. I was drawn to Elias somehow. By something.
And here I thought I had been quiet so as to not disturb your slumber. Sincerest apologies for rousing you from your rest.
No need for apologies, my dear, for I had already awoken. Elias cocks his head.
And yet, that changes little about the unreadiness of this manor. After all, I have to do all this cleaning myself. Simply look at the state of this study. Oh, it's so far gone from its glory days.
Didn't you say it was pristine?
I did, and I stand by that. Philology labs wish they were this clean. Either Elias is a perfectionist beyond compare, or he and I are seeing two different versions of the manor. And yet I find these rooms quite beautiful.
Just wait, and be amazed. I will have to find new staff quite soon. Sadly, they did not stay with me as I left my body behind. Oh, if only they had.
Now, don't get too preoccupied with the staff. You have all the time in the world to replace them.
On the contrary, arrangements must be made with all haste.
Arrangements for what?
Our wedding, of course.
Taylor chokes on his spit through the earpiece while I stand there and replay the last sentence in my head. I can't blame Elias for wanting to us after decades of waiting, but Tyler mutters something indiscernible under his breath. I feel the same though. I might be in more trouble than I expected. But I've only just been left at the altar, my dear. A long time for you has only been a sunset for me. I ask you graciously to let us seek a compromise. Elias tilts his head once more, eyes locked with mine.
But your heart... I can hear its soft, gentle tears fall upon your soul. I promise you, my dearest, that a heart does not heal easily. No matter how many tales of tragedy and hardship one may read, reality is much more painful. Why, my own heart has been broken more than a dozen times over the course of my life. And alas, it has never once healed, only turned to an aching scar.
He's very dramatic.
And I have tried my damnedest to ignore these wounds, to let them bleed out and coagulate into some semblance of strength. But it left me sickly instead. If a heart is to be mended, surgery must be immediate.
Elias takes my hands into his cold, ethereal grasp.
And here before you is someone who can mend your broken heart. Someone who can cherish you, stay with you, create happiness for you. I never had that chance in my own mortal life. And after so long, my dearest, I want you to choose happiness, not sorrow. And I want to be the one to give you that happiness.
I'm flattered. Something in his words rings truer to my heart than I could have expected. All I'm doing is playing along, acting my part. But if I had actually been left at the altar,
Whatever you do, do not trust him. At all.
Spoil sport! Shut up! Ah! Tyler snaps me from my thoughts. Oh, shit.
But also, don't do anything to upset him. Play it as cool as possible. Elias gave you a very thin rope to walk. Don't fall down. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand, Mom. Okay, I got this. I can walk a tightrope. Or at least fake it. Why not show me what else there is to Elias Gallagher? Let me indulge in my groom before I marry my husband.
Yes, we shall do that. But I cannot wait forever either. The taste of eternity I've already supped upon is nigh unbearable. Join your groom in helping him plan our wedding.
Or Taylor once more grumbles something inaudible. And what does my dear groom need help with? Elias gives a thoughtful pause.
Now let me think. I'd love your assistance with the floral arrangements. I have all the flowers of New England in my hands. It shall be difficult to select only a few.
Wait, we're in New England? How did I miss that before? To prove his claim, he presents his open palms to me, and a smorgasbord of tiny sample flowers sprout and bloom for my perusal. That's so many. You'll have to narrow it down for me, else I could never choose. And so you want me to be selective.
Of course. And after that, a cake. I know my grandmother's recipes are still in this house, and I should set off on finding them. I've tasted them all when I was still in the flesh, and they're delightful. As such, I leave the choice of cake to you.
Aww. I can certainly do that.
And finally, since you'll be marrying into my distinguished family, I'm eager to bestow upon you a gift suitable of that prestige.
He's got little hearts in his eyes. Oh, that's so cute. You know, I really would marry him. He is so fucking sweet. If a little messy.
I shall lead you to my treasury and introduce you to the family jewels.
Taylor sniggles. I can't help it. I laugh too, but I try to mask it tastefully. Oh, delightful. So I shall pick the jewelry I will for you?
Precisely.
Very well, and with that I believe we have reached an agreeable compromise.
Then let us begin. Take my hand, and I'll lead you to the greenhouse.
Yay, new content is coming. Elias's hand isn't nearly as cold as earlier, but my fingers phase through his just slightly all the same. It's enough to simulate the gesture of holding hands at least. Satisfied with the arrangement, he leads me out of the study and back through the halls. As we walk, I re-examine my surroundings. It really is hard to believe just how much of a glow-up this place got. And we're into new content, guys!
Hey, partner. How are we holding up?
Splendid. I've always wanted to hold hands with the man I love. Elias casts me a sideways glance and blushes. I don't have the heart to tell him I don't really mean it. I mean it, though! We passed through the foyer on our way to the other end of the manor. 2 hours I was knocked out for, huh? Elias is practically dragging me at this point. The set of hallways is almost identical to the other end. Sans the glass double doors around the corner, Elias phases through so he can unlock and hold them open for me.
After you.
Thank you. I take a step through the doorway, entering a wood floor. Seems the greenhouse still works as intended.
You shuddered a little. Is there a chill, my dear?
No, quite the opposite. Why, I'm surprised at how lovely the greenhouse looks already. Perhaps I'm exaggerating a bit. I can't even tell what plants used to grow in these planters. But my bouquet would be here. Elias could likely turn this from depressing to delightful before I could blink. Do you need any help restoring this greenhouse to its former glory?
I did, but no longer.
Is he eating my
Behold.
energy? I watch Elias's eager hands dance upon the trellises, and without more than a
Behold!
Oh! That's interesting. I, accidentally scrolled, and it went backwards. Okay, dance upon the trellises, and without any more than a simple florist, dozens of flowers, this time in full size, and bloom, await my perusal.
Voila! My dear, your flowers.
Let me see them. My eyes and nose are drawn to 3 flowers in particular, none of which should be growing on a trellis. An act of defiance, paranormal willpower, or simply Elias forgetting his botany? A classic red rose. It seems to be a different variant than the one I brought with me inside the manor, though not a climbing rose. A dazzling orange zinnia. The color reminds me of the soda I bring to the club room, though it's probably at least the least poetic thing to think about right now. And finally, a cute bunch of Lyra flowers, vibrant and pink amongst the other blooms. I've always enjoyed their cheerful presence whenever I passed by.
And
Pass
there's
them
more.
by?
Much more if these don't delight you.
No, I think one of these shall delight us both.
And which will that be, my dear?
Okay, so I know I have an idea on which flower goes to which man. I'm going to pick the rose because I'm doing the Elias path. I'm pretty sure the zinnia is for Taylor and the live flower is probably either for both or neither. So I'm going to go for the rose this time. The rose is always a classic choice. Red means love, yes?
Red on a rose means true love. Undying love. Eternal love.
Sounds about right. Taylor had me flick through a few books on flower language over the years, hoping we could lure out some ghosts with the right blooms. But I could never keep the meaning straight in my head. Maybe Elias was the type. Red roses were easy. Would he know more? Yes, I think it's a perfect choice for us then. Do we have a vase?
Of course.
With a flick of his wrist, a pile of dust on the other side of the room collapses, and in his grasp he holds a perfectly clean, nearly translucent glass vase.
Acceptable?
Oh, it's perfect. Oh, much more than acceptable, and it's something to cut the flowers. Oh, and gloves to handle the thorns.
Of course.
He provides me with the tools, and I set to work. Do I need to trim the stems before putting them in the vase? I think there was a trick to removing the thorns, but if I knew it, it's long gone.
Careful. Simply go slowly, and the rose will happily let its guard drop.
Is that foreshadowing, Elias? I guide the knife he provided slowly up the stem, as parallel as possible, and when the blade hits a thorn, it gets through like butter.
There you are. See? Not a thing to be afraid of. Not a moment that needs to be rushed.
This whole day has been a rush, hasn't it? Sure, in the sense of I've literally met a ghost after years of trying, but also all the pressure. I had less than 48 hours to prepare for my own wedding, even if it was fake. All the sudden research, all the desperate planning, and not a breath in between. My hand slows to a crawl, and I swear the moment pruning each stone one by one, they fall to the greenhouse floor, decorating the tile in reddish green points. Eventually, there are no more thorns to prune. I add another rose to the vase, hoping it looks okay. Then another.
Splendid! Now, did you have thoughts on accoutrements? Accent flowers, that is.
Oh right, this is just a half dozen roses, not a full bouquet. I hadn't thought about it. If Elias is the anti-flowers, would you suggest some for us?
My pleasure and my honor. First, some baby's breath.
Fake the flower language. If you get it right, he'll be happy. If you get it wrong, he'll have the joy of correcting you.
I don't know shit about flowers. Taylor's voice is in my ear. Baby's breath, that's something about youth, correct?
In this bouquet, more a symbol of innocence and purity.
I wasn't wrong! Oh, I hope he doesn't get weird about purity because I definitely cannot meet the Victorian standards.
They work stunningly when used sparingly. One may expect that their small size must be bolstered by great numbers, but that's simply not true.
I tried to take his advice. The little white flowers slipped between the roses, resting like snowflakes suspended mid-fall. Elias could make roses bloom in winter, couldn't he? I think about what an odd wedding that would be, but his hands continue to guide mine, raising the baby's breath up a smidge.
Do you see how that little bit of elevation gives the whole bouquet a sense of dynamism? Personality.
How much is a smidge here?
Here.
He reaches out, and his hands float through the stems, through the petals, through my fingers, lifting my hand along with the flower, ever so gently. Ah!
Just like that.
And would we like more flowers in this bouquet?
Yes, I think so. what would you say to lemon balm?
I'd ask how closely related they are to lemons.
There's Taylor with the snock again, of course.
Only some leaves, green and small. Perfect for filling in the gaps and adding a rich aroma.
Good. Do they mean something about sweetness? Probably best not to ask about sourness.
Sympathy and compassion. Though speaking of sweetness, these leaves do make a nice tea.
Aw. Ah, perhaps you could brew us a few cups when we're done here.
Oh, what an excellent idea. Yes, I think we shall have that lemon balm tea.
Alright, let's save some of this for the kettle. I took some of the leaves around the edges of the vase, and following Elias' suggestion of the baby's breath, I make sure to raise some up too. I try to keep it beneath the more exciting flowers, but every now and then I make sure a few of the little buds of baby's breath barely peek out from the bottoms of the lemon balm. Elias watches me with a polite smile, the same one I've seen so many times now, but his eyes are brighter, giving him away again. This time he's trying to downplay his joy. Would you like to help arrange?
I would love to.
And Elias returns his hands to the vase, carefully making sure that what he adds complements what I've composed. Even though I've never done this before, even though I've never looked so closely at a bouquet, I can tell what I've touched and what he's touched. And honestly, altogether, it looks pretty good.
Lovely.
Thank you.
I think one last flower. And you should choose, my dear.
He shows me two different flowers, one of flat, delicate yellow petals and another of thin, wispy strands of purple. I don't recognize either. And if it's my choice again, I choose to savor it. I roll the flowers around in my head and let them delight me. Why not? I don't have to understand their meanings to find them beautiful. The yellow ones. I would have gone with purple. It would have looked so much better.
Excellent.
I admit that I'm unfamiliar with these.
A symbol of everlasting love.
Oh, and what's the other one?
Again?
Shut up, Taylor! I chose everlasting love twice. Double eternity. I try not to think about that. They're only flowers, after all. Elias and I return our hands to the bouquet, adding the final touches.
The flowers look absolutely gorgeous, my dear. But still nowhere near as lovely as you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Elias. I can feel my heart hammering in my chest. They're just plants, innocent little flowers. Flowers with too many meanings, too many promises.
Is something the matter, dearest? You look a bit pale.
I'm always pale, except for when I've been out in the sun for a couple hours. I must admit that I'm a bit tired. Would it be alright for me to rest a little before we continue preparing for the ceremony?
Of course. You mustn't exert yourself too much. Please feel free to choose any room on the ground floor. Though, you'll have to excuse the state of disarray it may be in.
Thank you, my love.
And do not worry about the mess here. I shall clean up and rejoin you after I check something in the study.
What's in the study? Elias bows as I turn to leave the greenhouse. My steps feel heavy as I return to the hallway. I wasn't expecting floral arrangements to be that intense. Okay.
Hey, are you doing all right now?
Doing okay, Taylor. I'll live.
Might be time to see what you can get up to before your rendezvous with Elias.
I nod my head as if Taylor can somehow see through my earpiece. Okay, so we're gonna end this one here. Save and file too. And yeah, I'm gonna end this episode here. And then we'll continue on again, as per usual. So, thank you all so much for watching. The flowers were quite fun to deal with. Yeah. It is now the next day. I just saw that. Anyway. Flowers were fun. We're gonna go snoop So thank you all so much for watching, and if you liked the video and would like to see more, please leave a like and subscribe. If you feel like it, leave a comment, but you don't have to, and I will see you in the next video where we go dig through Elias's shit. Thank you, and good night.